Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Against the Grain podcast. I'm Josh Holbrook.
And I'm Mike Irvin. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, look, video. We're on. Past complications, but now I think we got it. We're going to try and do it this way.
Hope so.
From now on.
We spent a couple hours.
A couple of not very bright guys can figure it out eventually.
Eventually.
So, man, there's been a whole lot going on in the news about like this right-wing civil war. People talking about the interview that Tucker Carlson did with Nick Fuentes. He's not somebody I've paid a ton of attention to, but I've known the name.
Yeah, I didn't know much about him until you and I started talking about him.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of an interesting character. Definitely not somebody who I agree with, but he's got quite a big channel on Rumble. He's got over 5 million subscribers, and his live streams get over 500,000 people regularly.
Wow.
So even if you hate him, even if you think he's the worst thing ever, he's got a pretty big blowtorch of a microphone out there, and his message is getting out to the young men mostly. So I think it's worth paying attention to.
Yeah, and you know, and this has been an ongoing thing for the past 5 years or so. Young men are moving toward white nationalism because they've been told that they're terrible people and they're racist, and you know, and that's just almost like a necessary reaction to that as a young person.
It's a kind of expected reaction, I think.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say. Yeah. Not necessary, but
he's got some pretty out there views. I mean, he's when they say white nationalist, I think that's the picture you should put in your head is Nick Fuentes. He's really he's got some really specifically racial parts of his political thought process.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, he doesn't think interracial marriage is a good idea or should be done at all. He thinks America should be America for white people in the most sense, and that's pretty tough stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking that he's so popular. I mean, with those kinds of views, right?
It is a little shocking. It's also what we've kind of been talking about with the reaction to the woke stuff being jammed down people's throats.
Yeah.
I think
kind of an expected response, like we said.
Yeah. I think he first came on the scene right around the time Trump was running in 2016. He pretty much got banned from everywhere right about that time because of the types of things that he was saying. Talking about an appreciation for Hitler and liking Stalin, being a fan of Stalin. He said that on Carlson's podcast.
Jesus, really?
Yeah. A fan of Stalin. How do you go there? Really, I think it's the...
Let's not mince words. I think Stalin is worse than Hitler.
I mean, so too. I mean, most of the people who don't understand history don't realize that he killed, 10 times more people than Hitler? 9 million Russians. A lot of them were his own people, too. Well, I think that's a way low number. I think it was at least 50 million when you're talking about the Gulag and the war. I mean, all of that.
Right.
So, pretty awful person. But Fuentes is a natural reaction, I think, to Trump not doing what he said he was going to do. Trump not being as America first as he ran on.
That's fair, yeah.
Like we talked about last time, the reason that Trump got elected was two key pieces of rhetoric. Drain the swamp and build the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
neither of which he's done.
He built some portions of the wall. He has shut the border down with having the Border Patrol actually have some teeth and be able to do enforcement and
right.
all that.
I thought it was so funny that everybody's like, oh yeah, he's going to get Mexico to pay for it. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to ever happen in a real world.
We're going to build the wall and Mexico's going to pay for it.
Yeah, it's just...
no, they're not.
That's what's wild, that people would actually believe that's a possible thing. I don't know.
Well, Trump seems to think that he can just say stuff and that not only people are going to believe it, but then it's going to become reality. And that's just not how it's been. As far as drain the swamp, I mean, we're talking near zero on that one, on the scorecard.
Yeah, which I'm pretty peeved about, not going to lie.
And it's the foreign wars also where Nick Fuentes ends up having a little bit of a point. You know, we didn't want foreign wars, and Trump was stumping real hard for asking for the Nobel Peace Prize after this recent ceasefire in Israel and Gaza. But I mean, how much of a ceasefire is it really?
That's fair. But I will say, to his credit, he's done more than any other world leader to try to stop this ongoing problem, you know?
In Israel and Gaza?
Yeah.
The problem with that idea is I think that as the Americans, we hold the keys because we supply Israel with money and aid and weapons and all this stuff. And so if we were to pull that back, we could force them to stop.
True.
And so, credit, sure. Lasting ceasefire, I doubt it. I just don't think that's going to happen. As a matter of fact, we've had all kinds of stuff going on. There was one incident that happened right in the beginning of that ceasefire where a bulldozer comes in and runs over an unexploded munition, and an IDF soldier dies, and Israel uses that as a pretext to go a bunch more bombs, and for about a 24-hour period they were dropping bombs and all that kind of stuff again, and they were saying it was a Hamas attack. No, they ran over one of their own bombs that was unexploded.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm struggling with some allergies today, guys.
But again, Nick Fuentes being more MAGA than Trump is kind of the, in general, reasoning why I think he has such a huge audience. And he says a lot of things that Trump ran on, and he tries to hold Trump accountable to things that he's not doing, that he said he was going to do. Right before Charlie Kirk died, Fuentes and Kirk were kind of feuding back and forth a little bit. And to his credit, once Charlie Kirk died, there was a bunch of people out there that were like, it's the Jews. And Fuentes was like, calm down. There's no evidence of that. So, I mean, I didn't really expect him to that. He goes pretty hard on the Jews as well.
Yeah.
But what people fail to see when it comes to that, talking about the Jews in the way that Fuentes does, he doesn't necessarily always parse out the language, and it sounds pretty racist. But what he gets right when he's talking about is that the Jewish oligarchs like Sam Altman, a few others out there, these huge donors that are like the oligarch class that are huge donors to the IDF, the Ellison, what's the guy's name, Ellison, that just bought CBS, and a bunch of other stuff. He's another one that is like the major, the biggest donor to the IDF. But it's those guys, Miriam Adelson, all those people having such an influence on Trump that is true. You have these Jewish donors who have billions of dollars who are giving Trump all this money, and so I think Fuentes rightly calls out that they have an outsized influence in the Trump campaign, in the Trump administration, and they shouldn't. And it makes it look like we're doing the bidding of Israel.
Yeah. Well, and Fuentes has a big beef with Ben Shapiro, which makes a lot of sense if you see his ideologies. But it looks like our buddy Ian Carroll and Candace are all kind of aligning themselves with him, which is interesting to me.
Fuentes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't quite say that. I think, Candace had a couple months ago had a really adversarial interview with Fuentes. It was really tough. But I think what those guys, Carol, Candace, Dave Smith,
all just anti-Israel, right? I mean,
they just give credit to the parts of his argument that are true, and in doing so, that's where you get all of these other people saying, "Oh, you're not." Either they say you're anti-Semitic if you're talking about the all the normal people that say those kinds of things, or they say that you're not MAGA because you're not supporting Trump. It's like I think those people have it backwards. Trump is not MAGA. Trump doesn't need to support MAGA, MAGA doesn't need to support Trump. Trump needs to support MAGA because the politicians in theory are supposed to work for us, and they're supposed to hold up the bargain that they campaigned upon that got them elected.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem to be the case in a lot of...
I was going to say, Trump is synonymous with MAGA for the most part. Or has been.
I mean, it's the movement that he started, Make America Great Again, but it's that rhetoric that you use that got the support that if you don't stay true to what you were talking about and you start doing other things that don't support that, then the base of support that you had that got you elected is going to turn on you at some point.
Yeah.
And so I think there's legitimate criticisms of Trump that Fuentes offers, and I think that's why he ends up getting support. And now, you just the other day had what some are referring to as the Genocide Convention 2025, and it had people like Lindsey Graham and Mark Levin and all these people talking about how Tucker Carlson and all these other folks we were just mentioning are not MAGA, and they're trying to tear the coalition apart. And it's like, look, it's not, we don't vote for Trump in 2024 and then just blindly walk behind whatever he does.
Right.
To me, he seems far more interested in building his ballroom than doing anything that's going to help the American people at this point. I mean,
yeah.
It's
pretty ludicrous. But interesting, too, though, that I watched Tucker Carlson's interview of Nick Fuentes, and he basically credits Mark Levin with his white nationalist beliefs. Did you hear
Fuentes
that?
says?
Yeah.
No, I didn't watch that interview. What did he say?
I like Mark Levin, right? But the guy is just such a curmudgeon. And he's just... But Levin said, basically, like, well, these policies are going to make our country a less white country. Does anybody have any problems with that? Because I do, basically.
Yeah. I can't stand Levin. He drives me crazy.
I tried to listen to him back in the day, and it's just... He just flies off the handle, and he's just so unlikable. He's a smart guy. He really is, but...
He's very unlikable. His voice is unlikable.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It drives me insane. But just... I don't understand why we have to pick a side when it comes to Israel. How about we support Israel's right to exist? We don't think that terrorists should be able to fire rockets into Israel, and we also don't think that Israel should be able to commit a genocide, which I think they clearly are, or have been.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems pretty simple to me. But
they're always towing that line, though, and seeing what they can get away with. It's like they're set up just for that reason, it seems like.
So we talked about Trump appealing to that bit of rhetoric that everybody loved. Drain the swamp, build the wall. Those were the things that were really the most appealing parts about his campaign in 2016. And you got this character that comes along named Mamdani, running for mayor of New York, and now he's won it. And he is talking about billionaires shouldn't exist, and we're going to make the grocery stores run by the state, or the city anyway.
Because that has worked so many times in history, right? I mean, so well.
Yeah. Yeah, so whatever you want to call it, democratic socialism or communism, to me, they're about one and the same. Anytime you're taking private property or private entities that are businesses and putting them in control of the government, it's not going to last very long. It's not going to work very well. I saw a thing the other day that was a little meme, and it said, under communism, you line up for bread, and under capitalism, the bread lines up for you, and it shows a fully stocked shelves and stuff like that. So that's pretty clearly it. I mean, but I understand why people start to view, especially the young folks who don't have any sense of history, start to view communist ideas as possibly being right.
Sure, it looks great on paper, right?
Well, when you have almost no hope of buying a home as a young person because they're so expensive and the interest rates are so high and all of the homes cost a ton of money, and it just doesn't ever look like you're going to be able to do that. It's hard to find the right kind of job out there. People losing jobs to AI. Amazon's cutting jobs right and left. I mean, there's just this sense of hopelessness, and whenever you have a sense of hopelessness, socialism and communism start to feel like they could be good ideas to people who don't know any better.
Right.
When in fact, it is the need to cut back on the amount of corruption that we have in business is really what needs to happen. We need to not allow these gigantic companies to do these big giant mergers that put them all together. We've talked about some of the ways you can help the American people right away. We've talked about term limits, single issue bills, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But Mamdani is this big pendulum swing going back the other way. Oh, there's one other factor that I don't think we talked about. that contributes to the general public kind of having their faith in MAGA and Trump undermined. And it's when you call the stuff with Epstein a Democratic hoax. That's just not it. I mean, that's just it's the most patently absurd thing.
Yeah, that's I didn't even know they were calling it
that. That's what Trump has repeatedly called the Epstein stuff, as a Democratic hoax.
Okay, yeah, Trump.
And so when he
this is hyperbole.
when he calls it a Democratic hoax, it's like, no, man, we have all the evidence and a conviction that this guy was sexually trafficking women, having sex with underage girls, trafficking them to high, powerful people like Prince Andrew and Bill Clinton, and all these other folks, and you're just going to play around like it was a Democratic hoax. Why would you say something so obvious and patently false?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's especially insulting to the American people because we're not that stupid, right? I mean, some of us may be, but for the majority of us know that that's a lie, a bold-faced lie.
And so that those combination of things that you can see that are just not being followed up on from the campaign promises and the rhetoric are why I think people are their support for Trump and Trumpism is eroding. And so that when you get somebody like Mamdani who is representing the opposite side of Trump, that makes it look attractive. The socialism ideas start to look attractive. And one of the other things, like in 2016, when they had the first debate in 2016, before Trump was ever going to, it really looked like he was going to be a candidate, some of the things he said on the stage to those other candidates, he just roasted them, and he killed them. And Mamdani had a moment like that in the mayoral race where they asked a stupid question of all the candidates. And they said, what is the first foreign country you would visit if you were elected mayor? And every single one of them was like, I'd make my 14th trip to Israel. I would go to Israel. I would go to Israel. And you get to Mamdani, and he says, I'd stay here in New York, and I would do the work that New Yorkers need me to do. It's like, why in the world does it matter?
Softball, right?
Yeah, why in the world does it matter that somebody who's a candidate for mayor of New York would say that I would go to Israel? That's just I can't even understand the idea of why that would be important or why people would value that.
Let's be honest, Josh. If we had anywhere that we could go in the world, I think Israel would be close to the last place on my list. Like, I don't see that as like a sexy thing to do, I mean, maybe that's me personally, but
it's conflicting for me because I would love to see that area, but I wouldn't. First of all, I wouldn't take AIPAC money to go do it.
Right.
There's a deal where, I don't know if you know this, but first-term Congress people, they have the AIPAC trip where they finance it all, and they take them all over to Israel and show them the Holy Land and put them on the hook, and they give them an AIPAC person who they're supposed to check in with and all this kind of stuff.
And why?
Yeah. I would refuse that. I wouldn't mind going there on my own dime, but you know what I'm not doing is putting a yarmulke on my head and going and kissing the wall.
Right.
It's not happening. Okay?
Right. And I don't hate Israel or anything, but it doesn't seem like a fun place to visit. If I'm being honest. Because
I love history, I think it'd be awesome. But,
well, yeah, of course.
You got the, what is it, Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where it was supposedly the tomb of Jesus. It's built on top of where the tomb was. Definitely wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff that I would like to go see, but I certainly wouldn't do it on Israel's dime.
Right.
There's no chance of that.
Be in their pocket.
There's zero chance of that.
And they probably get some blackmail on you by the time you're done.
Probably. But see, that all of that stuff together combined swings that pendulum back over to somebody like Mamdani. And so what I really hope is that we can somehow break down these walls and stop the pendulum swinging so hard, because right now I feel like it's swinging farther to the right and then farther to the left, and we have less room in the middle ground to have any kind of normalcy or anything like that. And maybe we need to break it down because there's so much corruption that's going on, all that kind of stuff. But my fear is like we kind of talked about last time, as if it swings all the way left to people like Mamdani, the swing back all the way hard to the right is going to be to somebody like Nick Fuentes.
Yeah. And that's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Not saying Mamdani's not. You know?
The reason I don't think Mamdani's that dangerous is because what he does is, what he attempts to do is going to fail. Communism always does.
Yeah. But at what cost?
Yeah, it'll cost New York something, for sure.
A lot.
But I don't know what overall effect that's going to have. On the other side, like, they've been calling Trump a fascist and a Nazi and all this crap for years, right? He's the farthest thing from that. He's a pompous oligarch who is also a narcissist and thinks he can just say whatever and people will go with it. At this point,
some people are the reason he thinks that.
A lot of people. I mean, because people bow down to the powerful. And you see what he said about Thomas Massey and Rand Paul. He hates those guys that are willing to say, no, I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
And so it's made him like a kingmaker in the Republican Party. The problem is when you don't do what you say you're going to do, or when you start to undermine your own positions that you had, then when you support somebody in a race, it's like they're going to lose. You know, so we've had that in 2020. We had it in 22. Like, his support did not help people at that point.
Right.
But the swing back to the right, the problem is people, it doesn't have to be Nick Fuentes, but let's say without, like, we don't support him. We don't support his ideas. But the fact of the matter is he's talented. He knows how to speak into the mic like this. He knows how to be compelling. He knows how to say things that keep people going. He knows how to say things that keep people locked in and agreeing with him. And, you know...
Well, he's exploiting the fact that people, white people especially, or just Americans in general, feel like they are being attacked on their own soil, you know, to a certain extent. Or they just are losing their traditional values or whatever. And he's using that, you know what I mean?
And so what happens is the rest of the country, significant portions of the rest of the country start to do the socialist thing, or start to have policies that are more like California and Oregon, where drugs are legal and criminal behavior is legal and all that. The swing back hard to the right is going to be really rough. And if it is somebody who is like, with the rhetoric that Fuentes is spewing out there, who is also competent and also wants to get rid of people that don't look like him, we could be in a world of hurt, man.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, right now, over the past, since Kennedy, power has been being more and more consolidated into the presidency. And people on the left like to say, oh, Trump's consolidating all this power to himself. No, all of those presidents since Kennedy was killed have been consolidating power to themselves. And Congress has been abdicating power the entire time. And how you fix this, again, is like we talked about, term limits, single issue bills, and then the Congress doing what they're supposed to do when it comes to finances. I mean, we cannot continue to spend ourselves into oblivion.
Right.
If we continue to print money and undermine our currency the way we are today, I don't know that any politician is going to be able to do anything to stop the collapse that we're looking at.
Yeah.
Financially, we're in a rough spot.
Yeah. And they still don't do anything about it. And there's a lot of things about the Fed, too, that could be changed and won't be changed.
Yeah, I'm on the libertarian side, like the Rothbard school, man, like, end the Fed today. That's where I'm at with it. The Fed shouldn't be controlling that kind of stuff.
Did you see that clip? I hate to quote somebody that I can't remember his name, but he was an economist that worked for the Fed for a very long time. And somebody was asking him, how does this make sense when you print money and you just print more money to borrow? You're printing the money, you're paying to print the money, and then you're charging the American people for the money. And he's just like completely zones out and starts just mumbling words. and none of it is coherent. None of it makes any sense at all. I gotta find that clip for you.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
There's just no way to back it. He couldn't figure out any way to make it make sense.
Yeah, and I'm not the most savvy financial guy, but what I do know is in 1971, when we went off the gold standard, it opened the floodgates to national debt.
Yeah,
our national debt just goes up like a rocket ship from that point. In the 90s, it was getting really bad. In the 2000s, worse, and then Clinton was pretty awful, Obama worse, Biden worse yet, and Trump way worse than any of those. And it's just we spend, and
I don't know if Trump's worse than Biden was. Biden was
spent more. He spent more in his first term than Biden did.
Oh, in the first term. Okay.
Yeah. He spent way more as far as spending. Yeah, I mean, just on that one lane, I think he is worse. And I think in this term now, he's gonna break another record. But
I mean, in his defense, where that stands, Biden did so many terrible things to our economy that need to be fixed.
We're talking about, yeah, sure, but we're talking about just plain old spending.
Yeah,
Trump's got a beat there. The other thing that happens with money when it stopped being based on gold currency is that now when a bank makes a loan, that's almost the same thing as printing money. It just poof comes out of nowhere. They don't have to give anybody the money.
Total hypothetical, intangible.
Yeah, it's like printing money. It's like, where did it come from? Yeah. Poof, here's your loan. It's not backed by anything. It's just pretty insane to me. I don't quite understand how we've gotten to that point. I mean, I guess I do. There's the Fed, and it just makes fiat currency.
Yeah.
But that can't last.
No.
We talked a little bit last time about the empires that have fallen away. I mean, Rome, Spain, Britain, even the USSR at that point. It's when you get the money out of control and it's based on nothing. That's when your country's really going to be in trouble. I was actually looking into that a little bit more with Spain. When they started out in their empire, their money, their gold was all pure, I think it was silver. But that was like the height of their empire when it was all silver. And as things started to get worse and they overspent, they started adding more and more tin to the money. And then it was pretty much, by the end, it was almost all of it. It was almost 100%.
Yeah.
So
just fall apart in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, money has to be based on something. This paper currency thing is just it's a make-believe deal. So I don't know how we get out of that. I don't know how we turn it off. I don't know how we rewind Americans to realize that they have to learn how to live within their means. And when I say Americans, I mean both households and our government. But the government is far worse than households even at this point.
Yeah, just spending on obviously things we don't need. So much money. And it's lining a lot of their pockets. And we've exposed that, but nothing's been done about it. I don't understand that.
Yep. I listened to Elon Musk talk about the SNAP benefits a little bit, and he was talking about in context with Doge. He said that everything rolls back to Social Security and your Social Security number, and until we get that completely under control and really figure out one real American human being for a Social Security number and that system, because every other government program references back to Social Security. And so until we get that lined up, every other program is going to be extremely corrupt. The SNAP benefits thing. There's tons of people out there who are benefiting from SNAP and have large SNAP accounts that don't even necessarily need it. And the other thing is, why are we letting people who are getting government assistance on food buy garbage?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't get it. When a lot of times you'll see, carts full of just pop open and eat snacks. And that's just the worst thing for people.
Yeah.
I think if people are on government assistance, I think they should be means tested. It's usually a really unpopular idea with most of the country, but I think they should be means tested.
Drug tested, absolutely.
Yeah, probably. But that brings us into a whole other discussion of mental health and all that kind of stuff, which we do really poorly in this country.
Yeah, that's fair.
But just on the food itself, I mean, I'm fine with meat, dairy, vegetables, fruits. Definitely not sodas. Definitely not alcohol, which I don't think is a part of it anyway.
Right.
Definitely not candy. Definitely not highly processed snacks. I mean, that's why people are poorer than poor, have an iPhone, and obesity. I mean,
right.
How can we be the poorest people in our country be some of the most obese? It's because we allow them to get whatever they want with their SNAP benefits.
Yeah.
I don't want people to starve. I especially don't want poor people to go without food. But don't think we should be giving government assistance to make people ill and obese.
Yeah. It's almost like it's planned.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made for that. And I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I have not seen any advancement toward getting our government open back up. I mean, the last news I heard was that the Democrats were looking for a year extension on the Obamacare subsidies, and the Republicans were like, that's a non-starter. Like, no way. And so I think we're going to be here for a while.
Well, that's the core problem, right? Is there's no compromise. How can you have a democracy without compromise?
Yeah, well, and when they do compromise, it's like, who's it going to benefit? It's not the American people typically when they actually decide to compromise.
Good point.
So we need our government to work for us, and that's not who they work for right now. They work for their campaign donors. They work for the people that pay them for speaking engagements. They work for people that are donors. And it's supposed to be a government by the people, for the people, and right now it's working against us. So that's what gives rise to people like Fuentes and Mamdani.
Yeah.
Is people feeling hopeless.
Polar extreme.
It's the hopelessness that does it.
Yeah.
I mean, that hopelessness is what did it in Germany. I hate to reference everything back to World War II, but it's World War I and World War II. The Germans got the shaft with the Versailles Treaty. Everything, the reparations they had to pay, the limits on their government, or limits on their military, the limits on anything they could import and export, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was a big mistake of ours in hindsight, you know.
But that's what led to Hitler having his message land.
Yeah, you're going to believe anything if you're starving and he gives you food.
The outside world's all against us. Our economy and our country's in the crapper. And it's these people's fault. And so that's kind of where Fuentes is at. He's pointing at people who are non-white, basically, and non-white culture, as he puts it, and what's white culture anyway. I mean, I think of it in terms of American culture. I want an American culture, and that doesn't have a color.
I agree completely.
Yeah, American.
And a lot of people equate white values with conservative values or with traditional values, and I think that's ridiculous too.
Yeah, American values are free speech, number one, right off the top. The ability to say what you want to say out there in public and not be violently attacked for it or imprisoned for it. It's key to everything else, all the rest of our rights. And that's just one of the big key things. The other is freedom of association and religion. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of what's going on in Dearborn, but if their city council wants to drop the noise ordinances and have them do the Muslim call to prayer in the evenings, that's up to them. Sorry. I mean, it's just, I would move, and most of the residents are going to move, but that's the majority of the people that now live there are Muslims. So if that's what they want to do, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, this country's built on a separation of church and state. So,
yeah, I think that separation of church and state gets a little bit misconstrued because it's really what they were. The reason that was put into the Constitution was because they didn't want the Church of England. They didn't want the state to institute a religion. It didn't mean that the state can't have religious people or religious values that permeate what we do. I mean, if you look at one of the things Charlie Kirk used to say all the time was that if you look at all of the state constitutions, the original 13 state constitutions, only one of them didn't have a declaration of faith in their state constitutions.
Right.
So when it's interesting when people say it's not a Christian nation, it kind of was built that way. I mean, you had all the different colonies had their different actual religions, where most of the people were aligning with one of the different Protestant religions or Catholic religion.
Right.
But
that's why they left England, is to get away from the church trying to tell them, or the state trying to tell them how they could, worship.
Yeah. The separation of church and state is more about a state-instituted religion, not that religion can't be a part of why people have their reasoning for what they want to do or how they want to govern. So it's a little bit misappropriated in the general understanding of the public of how they think about church and state. So I just really want people to take a step back from these extremes, from the democratic socialism idea is not going to help. It's going to bankrupt people even more than it has. It's going to drive all of the people that run businesses and things like that out of the state of New York, or out of the city anyway. And getting to be an identitarian like Nick Fuentes is just going to make people hate each other more. And that's not what we need at all.
Definitely not.
I mean, what does bring people together is getting to know people in your neighborhood, saying hello to people on the street, trying to spread love and cheer in your circle. And so stay away from the Fuenteses of the world. Stay away from the ideas of democratic socialism, as they put it.
Yeah.
But definitely ask people what they think. Definitely get out there and talk to people who have differing ideas, for sure.
And for the love of God, know what your candidate's policies are before you vote them in, especially if they are socialist.
Yeah.
There's been so many videos of people just going around, hey, this is what Mamdani says he's going to do, Oh, yeah, we voted for him. Oh, no, that's not his policy. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The video right here. The one that just came out the other day was him talking about landlords, and if they don't fix things that are wrong with their buildings, the city will come in and fix it and build them. And if that doesn't solve the problem, then the city's going to take over the building.
Yeah, because that's legal.
That's called government owning the means of production. It's called removing private property. He's on the record as saying that billionaires shouldn't exist. He's a pretty wealthy fella himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's only been a citizen for a very short time, you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a citizen of Uganda.
Oh man.
I don't really get the appeal. I don't understand why New Yorkers would do that. Although, again, we've talked about having horrible choices. That's again what happened here. You had a beret-wearing Republican named Curtis Sliwa, who was just kind of a weirdo if you heard him talk at all.
Yeah.
And then you had Andrew Cuomo, who pretty much everybody hates in New York because of what he did under COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the scandals he had with women and all that kind of stuff. And it blows my mind.
And still a Democratic candidate.
And still a Democratic candidate. He lost the primary, and then he still ran. I mean, it almost ensured that Mamdani was going to get in there. One of the other moments that was kind of funny in some of these debates is that Cuomo was saying something about the state being so hard on the city and having so much impact negatively on the city. And Mamdani turned to him and went, "You were the governor."
Yeah.
It's like I can't even imagine why Cuomo would have thought that was a good line of attack. You were the governor when that happened, dude.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't even care about that debate. Like, there's no way I would elect a socialist, especially with his policies the way they are.
No, definitely not. But I mean,
like we always say, we have to pick between the lesser of two evils, for sure.
Gosh, I wish it was different.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know enough about how the parliamentary system differs from our constitutional system necessarily, but at least in the parliamentary system, they have these different factions that have to form coalitions, and so you kind of have to do things to force a compromise. But I just, the way we are right now, with the current two parties, I don't see compromise happening. I don't see anything that the American people want to happening.
Yeah, it's a middle school debate is what it is.
Yeah.
With no end in sight.
And they're talking, Trump wants to kill the filibuster, by the way. Did you hear that?
Well, I have my own opinions on the filibuster, but there's a reason it's in place.
There is a reason it's in place. But I mean, it would just allow whoever the party is in power to utterly dominate, and do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Scary, man. That is scary.
Well, and that's the problem, too. Like we talked about before, everyone that gets elected in or, takes over Congress just puts their boot to the throat of the other party as much as possible. And they don't try to compromise. They don't see any good from the other side, which needs to change because, I'm sorry, guys, if you're on the right, you got some things wrong. If you're on the left, you got some things wrong. You have to meet in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I think we're in for some tough times ahead with the financial issue layered over top of the two parties that don't know that they're dead yet. I think they're absolutely dead. I don't think anybody believes in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party anymore, except for the diehards. We'll see where that goes, but I think we maybe, for the first time in a very long time, maybe since Ross Perot, have an actual legitimate chance for a third-party candidate to get in there.
I think everybody's praying for it, man. I know I am, because this ain't working.
Yeah, it is not. So, with this stuff, with these things that Trump let down his party on so far, as far as the war or bombing of Iran is another one for a lot of people that joined the coalition. They feel like he's betrayed them on the Epstein stuff. Absolutely, the drain the swamp stuff. Not at all. I mean, the things that Kash Patel said when he was possibly going to become the FBI director, zero.
Yeah, didn't do any of it.
No, he's not been transparent at all.
Like he was a dog that was just told to back off or something. It's wild.
I cannot explain it. But it's been very, very disappointing. Again.
Yeah, to anybody with a brain, if you voted for him for these things and none of it has happened, maybe you have to take a step back, right, and say, oh, well, maybe I made a wrong decision, or maybe I shouldn't have expected him to do it to begin with.
The one thing that is a bright light for me is the stuff around MAGA. I know we've said this before, but I'm so thankful that we're starting to move away from the idea that pharmaceuticals are 100% the answer. I'm glad we're going to start doing a whole bunch more testing on vaccines. I'm glad the COVID vaccine has been removed from the childhood schedule. I'm glad that Kennedy's trying to get the terrible food dyes out.
Yeah, if you disagree with any of that, you really need to take a look at yourself, because this is our children we're talking about. This is our health. This is things that have been just terrible with our communities, our countries for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I know people
objectively,
I know people who think that Kennedy's an evil liar.
I know, just because he's associated with Trump. That's insane.
It's people that are still so stuck in the mainstream and who didn't get the message during COVID.
Right.
Hello. The FDA and CDC were captured by the pharmaceutical companies and did whatever they were told to do. Pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies that run our medical system were totally in charge. Anthony Fauci was the science, and that's not a good thing, because science is a methodology that's designed to question even itself. And those folks who were right there being told what to do just went lockstep. In with whatever they were told, and so that's a big problem. Medicine for profit is a tough deal, because people do have to make a profit. But when you get hospitals saying this is the protocol and it's the only thing you can do, it's a problem. Because as we saw in the beginning part of COVID, the only protocol that was allowed was remdesivir and a vent, and that was a death sentence.
Yeah.
Most people who got remdesivir and went on a ventilator died. And so if you haven't begun to question those things, you should. And you should stop listening to people that ad hominem attack Bobby Kennedy and start listening to what he says he's going to do and the things that he's doing and the people that are around him, the good people that are around him, Jay Bhattacharya, Patrick McCarry, all these people he's got around him are really, really good people, and the people that were right from the beginning of COVID.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's just, I mean, if you really think, use your brain, it's objective that it's a good thing. And I don't know.
It's really hard to talk to people that are locked into the idea that Kennedy's destroying our health and he's just a liar.
I just don't understand how you could believe that.
There's plenty of them.
And all these dyes are good for our children. I remember when I was a child, I was kind of hyperactive. This was before the spectrum was around, and I probably needed some kind of medication or something, but I didn't get it, and I didn't need it, And the one thing that our doctor said was no dyes, no red food dyes, no yellow dyes. And I stopped taking that stuff, and it changed who I was as a child. Like, it's crazy.
Some people, it's bad for everybody, but some people are super susceptible to what that does to your body.
Yeah.
It makes you a little crazy.
It's just a no-brainer, though. I mean, and maybe I have my own experience there, but there's been countless studies showing how harmful this stuff is to our bodies. And I mean, not to mention the cancer rates that are just sky high now.
Mm-hmm. The best antidepressant in the world is physical activity.
Yep.
Yeah. So get outside, get some sunshine. Oh, that's the other thing.
Touch grass.
Touch grass, like the kids say. That's the other thing that drove me insane about COVID was that almost nobody who had sufficient levels of vitamin D had a problem during COVID. And like 80% of Americans have less than sufficient levels of vitamin D, and they were like closing down the beaches, and like people need to be outside, need to be getting that sunlight for natural vitamin D.
Right.
Because not everybody's going to supplement. But one of the best things you could do is to be outside in the sunlight. Because not only do you get the vitamin D from the sunlight, but the sun, the UV rays actually killed COVID.
Yeah.
And we were shutting down the beaches in LA.
Yeah. And I, like you, work from home, and I don't get much sun, so I do take vitamin D.
I take it every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Me too.
Yeah. Take it all the
time. But I still try to go for a walk daily just to get it.
Yeah. Physical activity is huge for your health. But so we're a little bit off the beaten path of Nick Fuentes. You got anything, other thoughts on him specifically?
No, I just think it's interesting how he came to be and why he's popular. And it's kind of terrifying, but also understandable. And I don't know enough. And I didn't hear him say the things about, just blatantly racist things. I heard him talk about the state of Israel and how he's anti-Israel. Not necessarily anti-Jews, but I don't know enough to say that. So
yeah, he's very specific about the Jewish oligarchs in general.
Yeah.
And I should have said this earlier, kind of in his rise, you go from a really young kid, like 18 years old back then, and when he first started coming on the scene, he had some really...
Yeah, he was talking about the Trump rally that he went to, and then he got the debate from that with the head of the student.
But the ideas were even more hardline back then, and he has been softening them, and that is what happens with young men as they grow up. They learn to soften things. In his interview, not necessarily with Candace, because that one was pretty contentious, but in his interviews recently with Dave Smith and with Tucker Carlson, my understanding is that he softened quite a bit on a lot of his rhetoric that was very racialized. And that's going to happen.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily buy it. As you get a little bit older, you understand how you have to speak in public to kind of soften things that you actually think.
Sure.
And so if you go back and if you watch some of his live streams, which I don't typically, I might just take a look at one or two of them just to make sure that I understand the phenomenon. But he's pretty tough on the race stuff.
Okay. Well, yeah, then I'll do some more deep diving.
Yeah, it's on his show's on Rumble. It's where he has that huge audience, and he goes live. I think he live streams like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you can be talented if you can live stream 5 days a week by yourself and just rant the whole time.
Yeah.
Keep an audience.
Without sounding like a crazy person, which you might. But.
Yeah. Well, Nick, I'm not a fan of the oligarchs having so much influence overall, especially ones that are beholden to a foreign country over America. And the fact that they're all tied up with the Trump regime, it makes it the opposite of America first.
Yeah, and I kind of support his hate of Ben Shapiro, honestly.
I'm sick of Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Remember, hey,
Israel first over America. Yeah. I'm always going to be against that. But.
For sure. Hey, remember, Ben, facts don't care about your feelings for Israel.
Well, and Fuentes has openly called him out to debate him anytime, and Shapiro won't do it. So
of course not. I mean, he wouldn't. It's just not something that he's going to do. Well, Shapiro won't debate Dave Smith either.
Yeah.
And Dave Smith's probably my favorite out of all these people we're talking about. I enjoy Carlson's show because he gets big interviews and he interviews all these kinds of people that probably don't even know who Dave Smith is.
Yeah.
But Dave is more logical and keeps consistent with his principles more than a lot of these guys. Purely libertarian, not the kind of libertarian that is open borders. He's for closed borders, but he's definitely an in the Fed, Ron Paul type libertarian.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just learning about the economic side of that. I know a lot about the history. I don't know the economic side, so I've been told I need to read Friedman and Sowell and Rothbard and Mises and all these guys. I don't know anything about that. So that stuff's on my reading list, so eventually I'll get there. Have you read much economic theory?
None.
Definitely more well read in the history stuff than the economic theory.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, so I'll probably get to some of it.
For sure.
All right, what do you think, Mike? Want to wrap that?
Yeah, sounds good, man.
All right, well, thanks for checking in with us. Let us know if you prefer the video. I'm sure you guys do. Like and subscribe, share, tell a friend.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking us
Keep
out.
coming back. Appreciate it.
All right.
We'll be here.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.